All right, everybody, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Start it and then pause it just to make sure, because otherwise I don't want to really have to see myself in triplicate. It's a little bit on the annoying side. All right, if I already have to see myself over on StreamYard twice, I don't need 3 of me. Goddamn, the cloning has gotten out of control. We've got the bonus holes. We sent out our first EP titled Sybil the Soothsayer, plus an additional song that will be on our full-length album for mastering yesterday. Progress. Also, Styx is sampled in one of the tracks. That's what I'm talking about. Musically assured destruction. Been watching your old vids about the Afghan withdrawal. Harris told CNN she had a key role. Trump should talk about it. Can you make a special video? It's a good idea, actually. Yeah, on the anniversary of that particularly fateful day. Yeah. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Marilyn Manson just dropped a new video this morning. Probably one of his best songs he has written in years. I like most of his songs. I like the more extreme end of Marilyn Mansondom. That's sort of why you watch somebody like Marilyn Manson. We've got to talk about some news. Critics blast Harris's grasp of inflation. Yes, we're going to get into detail about her economic agenda because it's fairly important. She's batshit. There's no other way to put it. Price controls, trying to front end an expanded child tax credit, supposedly undercutting Vance's proposal, but actually the legacy media is wagon circling, and that's not even the case. So the one good idea that's in her economic package was already suggested, as usual, by her opponent. It's almost like she's copying homework at this point. Homework Harris. Hey, that rings a bell. Mpox. Map reveals multiple outbreaks as global health emergency is declared. Yes, monkeypox is spreading again. Considering that it's generally an STD, I wonder why this could possibly be happening. At least 14 African countries have reported monkeypox outbreaks so far this year, with 17,000 suspected cases across the continent. Mpox, previously called monkeypox, of course. We're going to call it monkeypox because this is not a political correct channel. The bonus holes. Manson's new song, Raise the Red Flag, is awesome. Can't wait for the Tacoma show. I'll have to check that out later. I know he released another song not that many days ago, and somebody was telling me about that. New Hampshire Mountain View Homestead, send $1.99. No comment. Thank you very much. 87 Sparker. Which grimoire is the best one to start her with? Yeah, it depends on the kind of magic that you want to study. I would go with the Le Megaton, or the Ars Goetia in specific, if you want like high ritual magic. And if you want something that's more like folk magic, incantations and talismans and shit, I'd go with the Petit Albert. The Little Albert, very, very weird book. Actually got an edition of that published by Ouroboros Press long ago. I think I still have 2 paperback copies of it and one of the leather, I think. Wolf, gotta say I've been taking the mushroom pills for a few weeks now, the Radiant Energy ones. They really do seem to work. Not sponsored, just impressed. Yes, of course. I took mine this morning. It keeps me going. That and lots of caffeine. Thomas P., what do you say to a reasonable person that thinks J6 was a serious threat and is worried about the immunity case to get them to vote for Trump in November? My friend is watching too much blue hair Twitch, ma'am. Just say, if it were an attempted insurrection, supposedly right-wingers are very violent and heavily armed, yet the only people that died that day were protesters. And quite clearly, once they got into the building and occupied it, they didn't attempt to overthrow the government or fortify the building. They took selfies. Bald Chicken, did you hear the rumors of Trump imprisonment on 18th of September? I'm not going to respond to rumors like that because it's like, a credible source says. Okay, well, we're not exactly sure what Merchan is going to hand down. If that does end up happening, that will be an emergency live stream because it'll probably lead to fucking chaos. Jones Johnson. There's a skinwalker in my walls, but for real, though, Blacks for Trump 2024. The big homie. New Hampshire Mountain View Homestead. Are you moving to the Netherlands? If not, why? If yes, why? I split my time between 2 continents, actually. So, yeah, I mean, it's sort of a dual existence, I guess. Let's get into Kamala's economic policy, though, really quick, before I get to any more super chats. I know there's probably some over on Rumble. I have to have my tabs on one side so I can't see them. I'll get to them, don't worry. Kamala Harris is friggin' insane. She's getting put on blast right now by even liberal media commentators. Of course, not the paid influencer crowd, though they're all like, well, Kamala's going to give us free shit. Yeah, wonderful. Taxpayer-funded free shit. That's how free shit exists. Here's the problem. She's brought up the specter of price controls. Price controls are indicative of far-left economies or really, really bad economic conditions. So, for instance, the big recession under Carter, when you had price controlling and attempts at that, under Soviet rule and things like that. But effectively, the government has shifted the burden to businesses to do its job. The government has inflated the currency and done a poor job. It's an admission that the Biden inflation thing is real. If you need price controls, then that's an admission, effectively, that there is significant inflation in the country. So that's point number one. Point number two, with regards to the child tax credit. A few days ago, J.D. Vance came out and said he was going to push for a $5,000 child tax credit, which doubles the Trump tax credit. Technically, the Biden tax credit, we'll get into that in a moment. Kamala came out, and according to the legacy media, if you read like CNN's headline stuff, she wants to go one further and do $6,000. But that's only for the first year of the child's existence. So unless you expect your child to croak in their first year of life, right after tax season, you should go with the Trump-Vance plan. $5,000 per year is greater than $6,000 up front and then $3,600 thereafter every year. It's a significant difference. It's over $10,000. I don't have the exact calculation. I'm not going to do it in my head right now, but you can do the math for yourself. Trump and Vance are offering you a doubling of the child tax credit, which Trump himself had already increased substantially. It had been stagnant for years. And the idea was, well, you've had inflation, so, you need to at least tack inflation with the child tax credit. Otherwise, people are getting less and less money, less bang for their buck when they bang. And he created that increase. That was Donald Trump. Biden has tried to take credit for it, just like he did with the Afghanistan withdrawal. That one didn't go over so well. He was more successful with the child tax credit. What he did was he simply front-ended it. So instead of it being a tax write-off, it's front-ended. I believe it's also taxable income, which is a little bit problematic. The Trump-Vance proposal would give you far more relief if you have a child or children than the Kamala proposal. What does the legacy media do? Not only did she steal the idea effectively, she pulled a Buttigieg East Palestine thing. Not only did she do that, but the legacy media is outright lying to people. Well, Kamala wants to give you $6,000. Trump only wants to give you $5,000. Yeah, but that's only for 1 year. Most of the time, we hope that our children don't die in their first year of life, right? Well, after just 2 years, Trump and Vance have saved you $10,000. Kamala has saved you $9,600. So that's a difference of $400. And that difference grows every year by $1,400. The legacy media is not pointing that out. There's more crazy shit in there, too. It gets better. She wants to create a new housing bubble. Oh, well, for first-time homeowners, we're going to give you $25,000 towards your home. Okay, so you've inflated the price of real estate because people know they're going to be able to charge more because people will have that $25,000. So you've inflated the price of real estate. You've brought a bunch of people into the housing market that are of lesser economic means. Now, I don't mean to put down on anyone who's poor. But getting yourself into a mortgage when you don't really have the means to pay it off is a bad idea. You're going to run yourself into the ground and fuck yourself in the ass. This happened before. The government was doing all sorts of subsidized housing shit back in the 90s. This led directly to the Great Recession in part. That and the free loaning of the banking system, they happened to pop at the same time. That's why we had the Great Recession. You're looking at creating a housing crisis. And well, short term, you create a housing crisis as in, well, everyone's going to have $25,000 more dollars. Well, my home must be worth $25,000 more dollars. This is how it works. This is how people are going to think. They're not going to keep the price of their home stagnant. and get it bought up bottom dollar when they can get that extra 25 grand. This isn't going to help anyone. What's going to happen is that slummy low-end areas are going to get saturated by people that don't have the means to even support that. And then once the subsidy runs out, once they realize what their monthly bills are, they're going to get into debt and their house will be foreclosed and everything will get fucked up. You're going to destroy the working class housing market that exists. You're going to absolutely devastate it. Kamala Harris clearly has no understanding of economics, doesn't understand how markets work. She doesn't understand why, if you're being branded as a socialist, I mean, she is, and Tim Walz self-professedly is, the way to avoid that moniker is not to propose price controls. This was pointed out by the legacy media. Even the legacy media is dragging her for it. I mean, some of them are wagon circling, but you get a few pieces where they're being honest. And they're like, this ain't the look. I don't know and understand what Kamala's doing. Her economic proposals are beyond voodoo economics. Voodoo's more believable. Last weekend, I am still worried and panicking about the polls. And I'm just shrugging my shoulders. If she gets to +4 in the general, then you can begin to worry a little. BW. I understand what you said about Hillary being ahead and still losing this morning, but Hillary didn't have the id poll vote because being a woman alone wasn't enough. Plus, Dems were surprised in 16. Well, yeah, but the Dem ticket has hemorrhaged Hispanic voters since then. That's not going to be good for them in the election. Don't get blackpilled. Last weekend, like really worried. I'm freaking out, like eating sushi and drinking Monster energy drinks freaking out. That's what I do when I'm freaking out. Sounds good. Make sure to get the good sushi, though. Don't go to the gas station. BW. Plus, people are so dumb, they might fall for her stolen platform. Also, I thought all the cases against Trump were being delayed by appeals. Yeah, well, you still get the sentencing in that one case. The thing is that Merchan would be absolutely completely criminally insane to put Trump behind bars. They're more likely to just fine him and give him like a suspended sentence sort of thing, some sort of deal like that. He's clearly not a flight risk, even though he owns several of his own planes. Cultivated mind. I heard about your side effect the other day, Sticks. If you take 4 or 5 of them on your next date night with your wife, you will have a great time. That's actually not the side effect that I was talking about. Yeah. Yeah, no, it did have an unintended effect, it seems. I just can't discuss it. It's not sexually related, though. It has nothing to do with that. Mulgera, I really appreciate the shout-out and video you did on Defend a Guard Act. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good story. Thank you for that one. Last weekend. Speaking of Great Recession, I'm more worried that if the Democrats do win and the Republicans are swept away, they will have no one else to blame. Well, the Republicans are to blame for their own stupidity many times. The bonus holes. The other new song was As Sick as the Secrets Within. Also awesome. I have a feeling that album is going to be on the same level as Hollywood and prior albums. Apache. Kamala's economic plan is unironic communism. Yeah, I mean, it definitely approaches communism, quite literally. I just don't understand how anyone can think it's a good idea. If someone thinks it's good, ask them what has government ever improved with its involvement. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. Andrew Saber, greetings from Nebraska. Tim Walz is doing a rally in Omaha Saturday. You have to RSVP to the event, and they state it doesn't guarantee admission. Yeah, they got to vet people first to keep those Palestine protesters away. Crossover maniac. Your Disney Plus TOS means Disney has no legal liability if they Minecraft you. Disney live streaming contract equals a license to kill you. Interesting. BB, will they manufacture a fake post-DNC bump? They're more likely to have a slump post-DNC. Yeah, Kamala's going to have to speak for 30 minutes in front of most of the nation. I don't know if that'll go over so well, you know, when she breaks down laughing or when the Gaza protesters blow up Wendy's next door. Waldow, I spent too much money on super chats this month. But maybe this few bucks are enough for a coffee. Yeah, under Bidenomics, yeah, I didn't buy a cup of coffee with that. Thank you. The Sumerian, hey, Sticks, did you study at Hogwarts? No. Great School of Witchcraft, maybe, or something like that. Let's get to the next news story. Then we'll do our sponsor shout-outs and stuff. Monkeypox, yes, indeed. They've relabeled it Mpox to try to take the stigma away. well, we don't want people to think that because you have fucking sores all over your dick that you fucked a monkey or something like that. They thought it was a racial reference, and I'm like, okay, you're being very admissive here. You're saying that you think that the average person is going to equate Africans with being monkeys. I think that makes you more bigoted than the rest of us who are just like, what the fuck? I'm going to call it monkeypox anyway. We've got multiple monkeypox outbreaks. It's become a health emergency. And what I worry is that this is going to become like the pox election or something like that. Because, I mean, we've seen before that the government is, the uniparty is very good at using public crises to its advantage. Now, so far, we're talking about like Kenya and Rwanda and places like that. We're not talking about domestic, like stateside cases. But it is possible that you'll have an outbreak of cases locally. We saw that, I think it was last year, there was that huge gay orgy in Belgium, and all of a sudden kids were getting monkeypox. And it was inexplicable how they were getting it, by the way, since it's normally a sexually transmitted disease. Seemed to affect a lot of young boys. It was very unfortunate. People should probably look into that, but of course that was sort of hushed up. Why do I think that the virus is going to make its way stateside and into Europe probably too? It'll probably go through Europe because, some Europeans are fucking weird. They go on vacation and then they fuck everything that moves like colonialists, and then they come back and then they fuck everything that moves back in their hipster cafe, and all of a sudden everyone's got blisters on their ass and genitals. It's mostly sexually transmitted, but people like to fuck. So I have a feeling it's going to come to the United States. Thankfully, because it's more or less an STD and it's not otherwise generally transmitted, thankfully it tends to burn itself out. But the fact that we keep having these outbreaks, isn't it a little bit telling considering the transmission methodology? Just pointing that out. I'm not making any insinuations. I'm just putting that out there. It's all cool. Don't worry. Oh, your penis split apart like a hot dog in the microwave? Well, that's okay. Beautiful at any size or shape. Wartooth. What happens when the current regime refuses to leave no matter what the election results say? The military will heavily encamp in D.C. for the election. There will be a military presence, I'm sure, in D.C., but I don't think that the outgoing Biden administration is going to be able to resist the winds of change. I don't think that they would be that ballsy. Guilford, if you're convinced 2020 was rigged and stolen and potentially 22, what makes this year any different? Massively differential polling, for one thing. Public sentiment has moved heavily against the Biden-Harris administration, especially after the debate. That's number one. And number two, defortification in a number of states, actually, post-22. Libertarian spirit. Why wouldn't you place big bets on Polymarket? It would motivate you to dig really deep into numbers. In general, skin in the game is a good thing. Well, my career and therefore my income already mostly relies upon my political analysis. I've already got skin in the game. I'm just not a betting man. I mean, I would bet on Trump to win the election. Right now, the return wouldn't be so great anyway because it's sort of 50-50 on most of the betting sites. Streaming analytics. An amazing zinger for Trump would be to ask Kamala to be his VP, since she seems to be taking on his platform little by little. I don't see anyone thinking about the effect of an olive branch from Trump, as crazy as that is. If he worded it right, that would be, that would be a good zinger. Absolutely. Matt, you live in the Netherlands. You a fan of salmiakki? I don't know what that is, so I don't know. Is that a band, a food? I don't know. BB, watch What Are the Odds on People's Pundit Daily. Kate Greenham, my country, CA, Canada, I believe, has a Soviet-style supply management system, and it makes things expensive, and production is rationed by quota to be fair. Yeah, we do not want price controls. That is the most insane thing Kamala has said so far. Again, even some liberal commentators are like shaking their heads. They're getting nervous because they want her to win. And they're like, no. You're being called a socialist. Please don't bring up price caps. Please don't do that. Crossover maniac. With all these add-ons to the tax codes that makes it convoluted, why not start all over and have a flat tax with a high deductible? It would be good to simplify the tax system. I mean, you'd put a lot of accountants out of business. Prohibition Jones, you trounced that Jack Coochie kid in the firearm debate. His arguments were the same tired, weak talking points we've heard ad nauseum from the left for years now. Yeah, now the gun control is easy to debate because people that are anti-gun usually don't know anything about civics or constitutional law. It becomes like shooting fish in a barrel, pun intended. The Dashing Rogue, call it ape-man pox. Also say no to Pox Americana. Yeah, it's monkeypox. I don't need to change the name. Nobody, only at the WHO apparently would they think that the average person in the West is going to equate a disease simply because it comes mainly from Africa, with being like related to like black people and or monkeys. Like, what are you talking about, dude? I never made that equivalency. You did, though. The bonus holes. Wouldn't it be hilarious if a monkeypox outbreak happened among Congress and their staffers? Lol. I mean, we already know what they do behind closed doors. Yeah, it'd be funny to see which one of them, which ones got sick. Matt, can you do a video about the yellow deli cult? Yum. Yeah, good food, slightly strange people. Let me get to my sponsors here before I continue the news and the super chats, though. I probably won't get to all the news stories today. I mean, it's Friday. I've got to go weed the garden and shit like that. Our sponsors. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get various mushroom pills. Brain 2, they've got an immuno one. There's radiant energy. I sort of mix them and take one every single morning. They're supposed to boost your energy. In my experience, they do. I don't take the immuno one as much because my immune system kicks the shit out of diseases anyway, other than, snail poisoning. But yeah, they're really good. Second, pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons, glassware, and much more with the Ouroboros logo and with various other memes from the channel. Good quality. I like the bookmarks, especially because I'm a bibliophile, so I needed a few of those. BiltongUSA.com. By the way, use code STICKS whenever prompted on any of these websites. BiltongUSA.com, where you can get delicious meat. I got your shipment, Anton, by the way, this morning, right before the live stream, actually. Thank you for the cabanassi. I like the peri-peri too, but I think the cabanassi, the Angus sticks, those are best for like when you're doing outdoor work because you can literally just fucking stick in your pocket if you want to. Yeah, your pocket might be a little bit dirty, but, you're a manly man. It doesn't matter. It's fucking meat. You can roll it around in some sand and eat it then, too. Nice and gritty. Again, Anton also has tumblers, mugs, and shirts with the Ouroboros on them. WickedNeedleEmbroidery.BigCartel.com, the land of sticks, hex, and hammer hats. Several styles available, 2 different styles, several colors available, and high quality. I'll vouch for them. Again, damn. I was going to bring one of them into here and wear it on this live stream, but I forgot. Whoops. I'll have to do it next week, I suppose. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com, where you can get seed survival buckets. You can be entered into a contest for this month to potentially have a $100 bill stuffed into your shipment, by the way, which covers the cost. Or you can get a Sticks, Hex, and Hammer soap box there. They've got other soaps available too, but my own soap blend that I helped with, it's cedar, clove, and blueberry. And it is fantastic. And I'm almost completely out of it, so please send more soap. Websterswares.com/sticks-wares, where you can get all sorts of Sticks, Hex, and Hammer merchandise, especially knives. Those are the big ones. The knives and the metal straws, I think, are the best, because metal straws, like, you can reuse it forever. You'll never need a plastic straw again. That'll save some sea turtles. Any marginal reduction in plastic waste is a good idea. If you go to their main site, they've also got a bunch of Trump merchandise available as well. We've got jamandbean.com, JAMNbean.com, where you can get delicious Costa Rica blend. By the way, I just keep this one here because it smells amazing. The other one is still being drunk. We're completely out of blend number 2. That one got consumed very quickly. We had to start in on the Costa Rica. I still think the Costa Rica is the best. Blend number 2, which was a prototype blend, I think is very, very close to it, though, in quality. Like, it's hard to tell which one I like more, but I have to side with Costa Rica still. So jamandbean.com again, JAMNbean.com. And finally, brickmuseum.com, where you can see some pictures from their museum that's in Blair, Ohio. And you should go and if you visit there, make sure to tell them Stick sent you, because it looks really, really cool. We're talking like a shit ton of Lego sets and Lego paraphernalia. So that's brickmuseum.com in Blair, Ohio. More super chats. Vinny Vidi, should we move to a tariff and sales tax system? Feel like that would help the economy and probably have better tax revenue. I prefer a balanced system. I do agree that property taxes, though, on first homes to a certain arbitrary amount should be abolished. I think they should be federally illegal to impose by the states. That's one thing that I would definitely do if I were in office, that I would push for. A national sales tax would have to be offset by subsidies for the lowest echelon of society, for the people that don't have very much, because otherwise you end up with them not being able to afford basic necessities. So that would have to come along with a subsidy. You could balance it out, but I mean, I don't know. Same with tariffs, actually. If the price of goods rises temporarily, you'd have to compensate for that. Now you'd reabsorb it with domestic production. You'd have to balance things more internally. Edward Ream. Howdy, hey, PSA for the clankers out there. I work in automation, fixing and upgrading critical and industrial infrastructure. Cool job. State and private management have slashed maintenance over the past 6 months. Get prepped now. Ooh, now that's not good. Thank you for the tip. Everyone should do as much prepping as they can possibly afford anyway, though, honestly. Expand your garden. Get some more MREs. Redane, what is your opinion on Anton and Zena LaVey? They had a falling out, later in Anton LaVey's life. He was a showman. And he was, ironically, he was literally the founder of the Church of Satan. He was very honest with people, registered as a corporation and everything else, and said, yeah, I mean, I'm here to make money and see chicks' titties and stuff like that. Xena is maybe more intellectual than Anton LaVey is just a showman. She can put on a good show too, but she's more on the, she does animal welfare and stuff like that. She's not a Satanist anymore. She left that behind a long time ago. She's more into Buddhism and certain elements of mysticism. Bomani Igloo. If Trump is sentenced to a year like rumor suggests, is it over? Yeah, it'd be over for the Kamala campaign because the public backlash would be enormous. I mean, if they're crazy enough to do that, then the election is over. Trump will end up walking triumphantly out of Rikers, snipping off his ankle monitor, and then, mugging for the crowd. Reed Weber. In your opinion, what types of taxes are justifiable and make sense, and what forms of taxation should be abolished? Anything that reduces a person's capability of agency should be abolished. So, for instance, the property tax. A person should have the right to a property that is truly theirs, and they're not paying rent to the government, for example. Sales tax is fine, but you've got to balance things. Income tax, the imposition of it is a little bit legally iffy, although, it's the main form of taxation. Business taxes are fine, and businesses should pay their fair share. Thing is that they're already doing so. In fact, most of them are paying more than their fair share. Jacob C. Greetings, Sticks. Hope all's well. Can I get a shout out for 365 Infantry, the ride for 2025? The Kickstarter to fund my freedom-loving pulp sci-fi series starring Metalhead Wolves. Hope everyone digs it. Yeah, of course. That sounds great. As long as I can read it. G-Sticks. You be our goat. Greatest of all Tarls. Lol. Yeah, G-Sticks, by the way. From G-Sticks. Got several of them. I've got that one back there. I like the pixelation. I thought that was funny. Sassmaster. I may have missed it earlier, but do you think Americans are dumb enough to fall for price controls? Oh, God, I hope not. Hipsters near me in Brooklyn love the idea. Can't stand them. Biggest fools. Yeah, it would be a terrible idea, but trying to explain it to morons is like completely pointless. Alex Better, you notice shills keep gaslighting inflation is 3%? Yeah, no, under Biden, it's more like 20%, which is funny. Let's see. BW, what do you think the likelihood of Kamala just saying she will stop sending aid to Israel and the dumbass pinkoids believing it? I was really hoping she would lose some of their vote. I don't think that she'll say that. She'll try to be mum on that issue, not attract too much attention. Sean487, just thought you should know. Rasmussen, never spelled their name right, and 2 other pollsters released their polls today. Trump up +4 nationally, leading in all swing states but 1. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of polling chaos. Don't pay too much attention to them right now. You're going to get Trump up by 5, Kamala up by 5. You're going to get everything under the sun because everything's shaky in the race. You've got to wait a while. Last speaking. I speak from experience because the one thing that killed the Bush administration and most Republicans was the Great Recession outside of the WOT and Katrina. True. Pablo Miel, for a lover of good books, might I recommend The Night Country by Lauren Aisley, a professor of anthropology, but the book is like poetry. I think you would like it. Sounds cool. Virgil Shadow, there's people comparing Trump to Operation Trust. Thoughts? I don't know what Operation Trust is, so unfortunately, I don't have an opinion. But if people are comparing Trump to something bad, normally it tends to be a bit hyperbolic, yeah. Wasted Bonehead. Good morning from the grave. All hail the Clank Wizard. And a follow-up, Sticks. Thoughts on the 2 billion records? Will it have massive effects? Yeah, I saw that, the massive hack that went on. I think it was 2.9, actually. Pretty much every American Social Security number is now on a hacked database. Isn't this wonderful? Yeah, cybersecurity. By the way, I do believe that Kamala is involved with cybersecurity at the White House, if I remember correctly. I know she's AI czar. I think that she meets with the cybersecurity director more directly than Biden does, if I remember correctly. Last speaking, WOT, War on Terror. Sorry if I was confusing you. No, I got the reference. Trust me, as someone that was there in class when 9/11 happened. Mulgera, we need to repeal the 16th Amendment and end the Fed. Now, having a Fed is fine, but we need to audit them. We need to find out what the fuck they're doing and constrain them more. What do fuck? I keep hearing President Trump will get 1 year at Rikers Island. Do you think the imbeciles are really that stupid? I hope that they are. I'm actually hoping that they're crazy enough to lock Trump up because they will lose. Use short-term gain, long-term real fucking pain. I hope they're crazy enough to do that. The chaos that will erupt would be amazing. Mike Rendau, too early to judge the outcome of your Terra Preta experiment? It was a stunning success. I need to get better peat pots, though, for next year. The stratum itself was very, very good. And I'm using some of the similar mix outside, actually, for certain plants. I pop it in with some of the hot weather plants that you put in as seedlings. It's working. It's working really well. I'll be using that stratum again next year. Mike the Wop, clank motherfuckers. They can have my social and identity. Never did me any good. Alan Smithy, hey Sticks, long-time listener, first-time donating today. I want to plug this one guy on Amazon named Tarl Warwick. His books made me more potent in bed. That's me! There's King of Biltong. Good morning from Anton's. Free for shipment for your Biltong using code STICKS on BiltongUSA.com and AntonsUSA.com. Try your first one on us. Use code STICKS10 for 10% off for all purchases. Clank! Yeah, I got the meat earlier today. I was very happy about that. When I have to go out and garden, probably after today, because today it's a little bit hot and muggy. When I go out there, trust me, I bring some Angus or Carbonasi. We'll speed through some of these. Hidden camera video shows Project 2025 co-author discussing his secret work preparing for a second Trump term. They're trying to be all ominous about this, as though Project 2025 is like really, really terrible and Trump is like the ringleader of it. But that's not actually the case. Some aspects of Project 2025 are rather innocuous. Deregulation, lowering taxes, those don't sound like controversial issues. I think that's a unifying issue. Some of it gets off into Christian nationalism, la land. But Trump has disavowed the project entirely. What Trump should do to really hoodwink his opponents right now is release a Project 1776 or something like that and lay out his platform with regards to issues that are addressed here. And then should put out an ad campaign to combat all the astroturfing. That's just my opinion, though. That'd be funny. If you can get Ron Paul to endorse you, then everything's all perfect. Is Tim Walz really guilty of stolen valor? It was supposed to be an asset, but the VP candidate's military service has turned into a headache for the Democrats. We sort out the truth from the falsehoods. And of course, in this particular article, they side with Kamala and Walz. Here's the long and short of it. It's not technically kind of sort of stolen valor, what Tim Walz did. It's just shady and shitty. And he did not drink horse semen. I know that that's a meme right now, but apparently that's been completely debunked. Although there was one person, shout out to you, you know who you are, who did send me an interesting article that said that there was some sort of Chinese like ritual practice involving semen or something like that. I know that in China, some people consider it medicinal. If you boil eggs in schoolboys' piss and then eat them, it's considered medicinal or something. I don't know exactly. There's some weird shit in China. But apparently, there is actually some sort of like cultural ritual there that does involve guzzling semen. And Tim Walz has been heavily connected to China throughout his career. He's visited there many times. They probably know everything about him. And since he's a self-avowed socialist, this sort of makes sense. They probably consider him an ally. By the way, if you think that this administration is going to do anything with regards to Chinese currency manipulation or anything like that, if it's incepted, if Kamala wins the election, that won't happen. They're going to softball them. They'll get a lot of money from China, though. You know, they love that money. They don't care what currency it's denominated in. These are globalists we're talking about. US dollars, euros, yen, yuan, rubles, marks, whatever the hell they use in like Uganda. It doesn't really matter. Pesos, long as you give them enough of it. Virgil Shadow, Operation Trust was a Soviet counterintelligence operation to manipulate anti-Bolshevik groups. Yeah, I don't think that there's any counterintelligence operation behind a person who's being so legally persecuted and almost got his head blown off. I can't believe that one. No, I think that Trump is being genuine. Maybe I can ping Yao this fly. Oh, he's on my microphone, so you might hear this. No, he flew away. Oh, well. Or she. I don't want to assume anyone's pronouns, of course. That'll result in a channel strike. Lone Wolf 36s. It was a Chinese man. His name was Horse. Yeah, no, I mean, I can believe it. He would be into weird shit because he's a weird dude. But there's no corroboration that Tim Walz actually drank a bunch of horse semen. But, I mean, again, he's been to China a lot, and apparently there is some sort of wacky cultural ritual involving it. So it has something to do with virility or something, or manliness. Like, I guess the idea, maybe you drink the semen, maybe you get more testosterone or something. I don't know. I have no clue. But there's no corroboration of the story. We just know that he's a socialist. Why Donald Trump can't let go of Joe Biden. The former president is caught in a nostalgia trap of his own making. This is very interesting because it shows him, doing like, the dour Trump face and proclaims that Donald Trump is just obsessed. Here's the thing. This is a complete astroturf. This is from The Nation, so it's not really a surprise. The reality is that you can attack Biden because Kamala was his underling for the last few years. She was part of the administration's policymaking. She was the border czar and still is at the moment. She's the AI czar. She was proclaimed both of these proudly by the White House at the time, by the way, and the legacy media. She's involved with Senate deal making. Of course, she cast the tie vote in what is a very, very close Senate. And so she's partially responsible for the policies that were imposed by Joe Biden. If she had a differentiation from him on policy, she is capable of going to his office at any time and addressing it and trying to say, look, Joe, I mean, you're saying that you want a 10% tax on almonds, but I talked to the almond growers, group there, and they say that they're all going to go out of business. It needs to be just 5%. They can stomach that. She can do this sort of thing. She's the fucking vice president. They're constantly taking selfies with each other and doing the facial mugging thing with Joe Biden normally looking like he's on 10 doses of amphetamines and Kamala looking like she just swallowed the bong water after railing off 5 or 6 hits. And so attacking Joe Biden, even though he's not the nominee, Kamala is, makes sense. It's not an obsession. It's not a nostalgia or anything like that. It's like, this is the administration. It was Biden put Kamala at the forefront during the campaign, of course, hiding her in the closet after he got elected, or selected rather. But it's Biden-Harris. She's part of the administration. She's the second in command of the executive branch of the United States of America. She is partially culpable, not fully, but partially culpable for anything Biden did. And the fact is that she knew that Joe Biden had cognitive decline. I wish that Trump would mention this. He should do a major presser, tease it out really hard, and then say something along the lines of we know that Joe Biden is in ill health. His performance at the debate shows this. His repeated stumbles shows this. His repeated verbal gaffes, his inability to remember, according to the Her report, he can bring that up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Kamala Harris was his vice president, ostensibly met with him on a regular basis, knew what was going on, and didn't say or do anything about it. Only when I fucked him in the debate and fucked him real hard without lube, only then did he stand down. They were perfectly content to let a doddering, senile man continue to run the government for an additional 4 years. What does this tell you about Kamala Harris? He should say something like that. Will it come off as mean? Yeah. Everything that Trump says is going to be construed that way anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Ozzy's Robots. Hey, Sticks, daughter-in-law had a baby girl, Eliana, August 3rd, so call me Grandpa Robot. Farmhouse is proceeding so they can move down with their horses. Congratulations to all of you. You got to have a fucking party. Michael D'Angelo, do you recommend volunteering to the Trump campaign and or local voting polls? Also, any tips on cold turkey quitting Nick? Love you, bro. Cold turkey quitting cigarettes is pretty much the only way to go. If you try to wean yourself off, at some point, you're going to feel the stress and you're going to want an additional one. You'll go right back up. Don't bother. Just put the pack down, fucking destroy it, and figure that you're going to suffer. As far as volunteering and stuff, yeah, I mean, if you are inclined to do so, yeah, absolutely. If you've got the time and the will to do so, you should absolutely do so, yes. We had to talk about the incoming banana apocalypse, unfortunately. Mulgera, I literally do not think there is anyone with more TDS than Keith Olbermann. I would have to, no, Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman gives him a run for his money. He's one of my favorite follows because he's such a goddamn spurg, lol. I think, has he banned me too from his Twitter page? I think Keith Olbermann may have blocked me too. I know Ron Perlman did. He's got TDS so bad that it's no longer just a syndrome. It's a chronic disorder. Yo, Lil Donnie. Then he was trying to do the Yo Elon thing, you know, not that long ago. And it's like, okay, you return to Twitter, just say Yo Elon, ha ha ha. You're going to get fucked by your ex-wife or something like that. It's like, Ron, didn't you leave your wife of like 20 years for like a 19-year-old or something like that? You're one to talk. That makes a whole lot of sense. I think Ron Perlman is more insane than Keith Olbermann. I mean, he talks about piss and shit constantly. He can't stop it. I mean, it's no longer even a meme with the return to Twitter Elon post. It's no longer even a meme that he's obsessed with shit and stuff like that. The banana apocalypse is near, but biologists might have found a key to their survival. Yes, the problem is this. Most people don't realize this. The bananas that people were eating 100 years ago basically don't exist anymore. The old school bananas, you've never tasted an original gangsta banana in your life probably, unless you're like 75, 80 years old. A couple of you might be, you know, and we celebrate our elderly clankers. You've lived a long and historied life. I hope that you've been on the channel for a good portion of that life, by the way. But most people don't realize this. Back then, there was a form of wilt that affected bananas. This is back in the mid-20th century. And it started destroying the entire plantations. It was, I think, a variety of, is it Fusarium, I think? Just a sec. Yeah, it's a Fusarium wilted banana, FWB, and there are multiple strains of this. What they did is they took a cultivar that was resistant to this strain, and they started growing that. And that's the kind of bananas that we've been eating this whole time. There are a few varieties, but that's the most commercial variety. It's the main banana. It grows well. It tastes good. Holds up under, against mold and stuff like that. The problem is that the wilt has begun to infect the new banana cultivar. And so what they're trying to do is genetically engineer the bananas, because there aren't a whole lot of other commercially available cultivars that people would want to buy, by the way, because you've got those like dwarf bananas, and then you've got red bananas, and there are different cultivars. They're all susceptible to the same wilt. So what they're trying to do is genetically modify the plants. And apparently what they discovered is that it's a fluctuation in the level of nitrous oxide in the plant that actually is the symptomatic method by which the plant begins to wilt. So they're saying, well, if we can turn off certain genes and stop the production of the nitrous oxide, the wilt won't affect them. It can infect them, but it won't do anything to them, or it'll slow it down. It's not necessarily a solution. We now know that the Cavendish banana-destroying pathogen TR4 did not evolve from the race that decimated the Gros Michel bananas. TR4's genome contains some accessory genes that are linked to the production of nitric oxide, which seems to be the key factor in TR4's virulence. And so they've been spending several decades studying this, and they're hoping to stave it off. Now, how are bananas grown? Typically vegetatively, and it's typically a monoculture. This is what leads to pathogens. You have a population of clones, effectively, seedless clones. Of course, there are some bananas still out in the wild that have seeds, but mostly it's vegetative production, similar to potatoes. This is sort of what led to the potato famine in Ireland. Of course, you have particularly wet weather, a pathogen is introduced, and you have a monoculture, because this one form of potato just produces twice as many potatoes, so why would you plant anything else? Unfortunately, the rot set in, and then everyone started starving. So the same thing could happen with bananas. You could be up shit creek without a paddle if you're a banana fan in short order. And unfortunately, the genetic studies that they're doing, number one, are slow, and number two, won't even solve the problem. They'll simply provide a temporary stopgap solution. What they should be doing is attempting to genetically modify bananas and create a new cultivar entirely. You can do this with CRISPR. Just create a new banana. Genetically modified. It doesn't even need to taste the same. You can have more bananarine in it or something like that. Yep, you've probably never tasted an original gangsta banana. If you were on the Titanic and you got the banana sundae, it would have tasted completely different from the banana sundae that you just got at Friendly's the other day. By the way, Friendly's, underrated restaurant. I mean, they've gone bankrupt several times, but Mulgera. Perlman might beat Olbermann. Yeah, but I see Olbermann constantly. It's a concentrated dose of statism and DNC shilling. He also loves calling for the arrest of people. Yeah, I've noticed that. It's almost like he's projecting. Mulgera, nothing will ever beat the time Olbermann essentially implied that he was pissing from his eyes or some stupid shit like that. Lol. Yeah, he's a weird dude. I would still say, though, Ron Perlman is number one. He's number one on the fucking crazy list. Well, I mean, after like Kamala or something. As far as commentators and influencers, if you can call them that, goes, I'd say he's number one. Olbermann would be close. Sisson is a paid shill. Like, Perlman and Olbermann do it for free. So I don't know if he's on the same tier, but I'd say or Dabrowski. He's a paid shill too. I guess maybe they'd be on the top 10 list. OG Bear, Styx is retarded. I'm sure it's GMO's fault the bananas are in trouble. No, these aren't GMOs. This cultivar comes from before we had any form of modern genetic editing or anything like that. The problem is they vegetatively reproduce. So you're taking cuttings from each plant and you're just planting them ad nauseum. They're effectively clones. You don't have many genetic strains, therefore, to work with. So if one plant gets infected, all the other plants around it can get destroyed as well. Olbermann called for the death of all Texans once. I wasn't aware of that. Not surprised. By the way, please send no more super chats. The banana story was the last one. And it is Friday, and I'm fucking starving. I want pickled beets and V8 and stuff like that. Steady Eddie, rock and roll. Mike the Wop, Zin pouches for me off Stigs. The bonus holes. Elon is still a penis head. That is a fact. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're still banned there. I mean, Elon has improved the site, but there are instances where people are still being like wrongfully banned. And thanks for the shout outs the other day, by the way. You can have another one. Yeah. To the bonus holes. Go and listen to the music. Ozzy's Robots, liking Kamala is like posting the Ukrainian flag. Yeah, that sort of fell out of favor. I've noticed a few less of those lately. V8 belongs in a car. No, V8 belongs in my fucking stomach. V8 is the ultimate thing to drink. If I could only drink one thing for the rest of my life, non-alcoholic beverages, of course, it would be V8. Yeah, definitely. And you still have to drink water, but yeah, it'd be V8. Sometimes I get massive cravings for things. Probably you know what I'm talking about. You know, so for some food or certain drink. And so there are times that I've drank like a gallon of V8. I know that the salt level is probably excessive for me, but you're getting a lot of fiber. And no, I will not add alcohol to V8. I don't understand Bloody Marys. I don't understand Clamato. I don't understand vodka and V8. I don't understand why tomato does not go with alcohol. Not in any, no, and no spicy V8 either. No, original gangster V8. That's the only one that I drink. My mom went through a period once after my dad had his heart attack. That was a long time ago, where she went through like a health food craze. And some of the foods are really good, let me tell you. But she kept getting the low salt V8. I would just take the salt shaker and I would shake salt into the glass because I'm like, the whole point of V8 is the salt brings out the flavor. Not just a string. You've never heard of V8? It's a vegetable drink. I think it means vegetable 8, like there were 8 vegetables and herbs in it. And it's mainly tomato juice, which in and of itself is also very good. But it's got celery, parsley, and it's salted, of course, a few other things. I can't remember exactly what it is. You can make your own V8. I mean, if you just look at the ingredients list and then try to balance things out, you could probably make your own. Mexican Trumper, 6 in line for my Jeep V8 for my Bloody Maria. Horde of gay. Just like V8, her periods. Oh, God. No, I don't understand Bloody Marys or Clamato or anything like that. I tried that, but Budweiser used to have and probably still does. When I was in southern Texas, a Clamato drink, which is beer with tomato juice in it, basically. Ugh. Oh my God. Wasted bonehead. No more super chats, bitch. Take my money. It was terrible. Lemon curd zero. They do have curried ketchup over in Europe. It's extremely popular because of influence from places like Turkey and Morocco, actually. In fact, it's hard to find regular ketchup in some parts of Germany, I've noticed. It's all curry ketchup. Mike the Wop, Bloody Marys are the bomb, tomatoes and booze. Ugh. Yeah, it'll be a bomb. It'll be a dirty bomb when you go to the toilet the next day. Yeah, maybe. I am completely uninterested in that sort of mix. If I'm going to drink anything alcoholic, it's going to have to be generally on the sweet or sour side. Anything spicy or like tomatoey, salty, anything like that. Ugh. The only exception, I mean, if it's a margarita, you know, you've got the salt on the rim. That's perfectly fine. Clam juice? Is somebody saying they drink clam juice or something? V8 with ranch. Now people are trying to make me wretch. Normally, I'm the one that makes people disgusted. Clamato. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. One of the best mixed drinks that I had was actually when I was at the beach, not that many days ago. And it was some sort of coconut drink at Ray's. Ray's seafood, by the way, still just as good as it used to be. My thanks to you. That seafood chowder is still excellent. And trust me, I ate it all. The calamari is still just as good too. You gotta have calamari with ketchup. You can do it with like something like a horseradish sauce, but ketchup is the original gangsta. But it was some sort of coconut drink. And I don't know exactly what it was. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good. You know, it's hot in the sun and you're on the beach and, you know, you get a martini or something. My favorite mixed drink is the martini. It's got to be extra dirty and with extra olives in it, by the way. Miku Huntu, Andy 6 Logs, V8 flavored. Oh, God. Yeah, Bretling, you're correct. In the Netherlands, it's like a smoothie culture. Any store you go into, there's always a rack of smoothies, any grocery store. And they all mix their own blends. And they're very, very good, generally speaking. And some of them do have avocado in them. I had a couple that were really good. One was like, what was it? It was, it had mango juice and, of course, apple and pear. They cut it with that because it's cheaper. Apple, pear, mango, avocado, chia seeds, I think. And there was one other ingredient, but it escapes me at the moment. It's pretty good. I like avocado. I don't like avocado toast. I just eat the fucking avocado plain. Or it's good if you put it into a salad, like a nice loaded salad with, you know, you just got your greens, tomatoes, peppers, onion. Then you put in some avocado. You put in sliced up boiled egg. That's the way to do it. That way you get plenty of protein with your fiber. And you can put chicken in it if you want. I'm not a big fan of chicken in salad. Oh, hummus smoothie? I've never heard about that one. Last beacon, last rumble rant. Ping us, 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 ping us. Hey, ping us. All right. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I thank you to the nearly 5,000 people that tuned in. But I'll do a news crawl. I need to get some food up in me. I'm hungry at the moment. And yeah, plenty of shit going on. At any moment, hell could break loose. So, you know, you might get an emergency stream at any time too. So stay tuned. That's about all. Peace out.